What's up, scholars? Welcome back to another video. Today we are doing my January wrap-up of books I read this month. Or I guess last month is technically February now. But the books I read in January. So this will include books and manga, and I'll kind of mention the anime I'm watching as I'm going into February and all that, because I started watching a lot in January. So it's just gonna be a big wrap up of what I've been doing the past month. So let's not waste any time and go right into it. So the first book I read this month is Red Rider. It is, I believe it's a self-published book. Maybe wrong on that, but this was a book I got for Christmas from one of my cousins. So I read it pretty much right after the new year, right at the new year. It only took a day to read this book. It was a really fast read for me. It wasn't my favorite book. It's called Red Rider, so it's a telling of Little Red Riding Hood, except there's a lot of twists in it. That doesn't make it a typical Red Riding Hood story. And Little Red Riding Hood is one of those children's fairy tales that I really enjoy. It's fun to see different retellings of it. This one doesn't quite do it for me. The plot twist that was in here, I wasn't really a fan of, but I didn't like the ending. I really didn't like the ending. But I know a lot of people who did like it, and my cousin said the first book is very, very bottom of the barrel for this author's writings, that it gets better as the series goes on. So I'm debating with myself currently on whether I'm going to pick up the next one or if I'm just going to leave it like this. But I rate this, it was really easy to read though, so there's that. I'd probably rate this, I'm not going to rate it. Nah, I'm not going to rate it. I don't like rating books. But this was probably my least favorite read of the entire month of January. So we're just going to go ahead and start off with the worst one and work our way up from there. So the next one I read is actually The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charles Maxey. This one, it was such a surprising read. It was so sweet. And I don't see a lot of people talking about it. And I actually saw Murphy Napier. She did a video recently on books. Oh, what was it? On I think it was underrated books that nobody talks about, but I can't remember exactly what video it was. But if you follow Murphy Napier, you know exactly what video I mean. And she mentioned this book, that it is a very it's a hidden gem that not a lot of people talk about, but is really good. And I completely agree with her. This book was so good. It's just a book of sayings, and there are small little lessons, but the illustrations in here, the illustrations in this book are so nice and very pleasant. And I love the little story, all the little characters that are in here. The fox is my favorite. And I just think this book is really adorable. You can read it with your kids. You can read it just on your own, as an adult. A teenager could enjoy it. Anyone of any age can enjoy this book. It's just a really nice, really easy read, but it has a lot of meaning behind some of the sayings. Can it be corny? I guess you could say it might get corny at times, but I think it's really good. So this is one of my favorites this month, just because one, it was really easy to read and get through. It took me 20 minutes to read this entire thing cover to cover. But I really liked the little story that was in there and the little friendships that these characters made. I'm a sentimental type, so this one I really enjoyed. It was a really good book. The next one is another book I got for Christmas, and it's another self-published book, I'm pretty sure. It is called Rebel's Blade. I read a lot of self-published books, I realize that now. This one was actually surprising to me because I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. And I really liked the characters. There are still some characters that I'm waiting to like more, because I know I haven't fully gotten their stories fleshed out, and this is an entire series, and I will definitely be reading the next book in this series. but it is a fantasy. There isn't really much romance in this first book, although there's like hints at romance, but definitely not in this first book. I really like how it handles some of the darker themes and the darker topics that are mentioned in the book, and how each character deals with it differently. Rebel's Blade was a very enjoyable book. There's a lot of comedy in this book too that kind of eases some of that heaviness that can come from some of the topics that are in this book, and I like the balance. It's not overly, like, it's not just purely comedic and it's not just purely dark. There's a nice balance with that. But I can also tell this is one of her first published novels, but I'm already really impressed with the way she writes, so I'm only looking forward to delving into more of Frost K's books and see where this story goes in particular. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give any spoilers, but I would recommend this book. If anything, the dynamic between the brothers, there are a pair of brothers in this series, and the dynamic between them is fantastic. I love the brothers. I love Tell and Sam. So Tell, Sam, and Gabriel, the names are not spoilers because they're main characters, but Tell, Gabriel, and Sam are my favorite characters in this whole book. I love them all so much. They're dynamic, two brothers, Tell and Sam, and then the cousin, Gabriel. I love their dynamic so much. It makes this book so much fun. It makes the twists and turns and how they maneuver around being royalty. It's so much fun. And I do love the dynamic that's brought up between like family, duty, responsibility, and personal wants or wishes. I love that there's like this struggle between those topics, especially when you get one side being a prince and he has responsibilities as a prince and the duties to his kingdom and his people. But then on the other side you have what he really wants and how he's just so tired of everything and he just needs a break. The poor boy needs a break. But then on the other side, you have the duty and responsibility of like the rebel side. This rebel that's the main focus of this book, Sage. You see the responsibility and the duty she has, not just like to protecting her family, but to the rebellion and how she tries to handle those situations and stay true to her beliefs of what she's doing is right, and how that gets challenged and how she struggles with that throughout the book. It is really well done. If anything, the character work in Rebel's Blade is what makes this series so enjoyable to me. I really like the characters here, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next book. I'm gonna try to read it in February if I can. This was a really good one. So manga-wise, those are the only books I've read this month. It's been a pretty busy month, so I've been trying to read what I can. But manga-wise, I've read volumes 1 through 9 of Skippy. So this is a reread because I'm doing my Skip Beat series on the channel now. So I reread the first 9 volumes of Skippy. This is a series that I could reread no matter what. I've reread this series so many times. I've watched the anime adaptation even though it misses so much. There's so much that the anime leaves out, even in the first 9 volumes, that it's like ridiculous. But I do enjoy watching that because it's just nostalgic for me to watch the anime and then come and read. This is just something I could reread every day if I wanted to, just because the art style is great. I really love it. The art style is great. I love the main character. I love all the side characters. If you really want to know everything about Skippy, make sure you're gonna go check out the series. I will be doing volume 4, 5, and 6 this month for the next installment of Skippy. So if you want to be prepared, y'all can go ahead and read it with me so we can go through this together. But I have volumes 1 through 3, my review of that already posted. And I will be doing volumes 4, 5, and 6 this month, and then 7, 8, and 9 next month. So that was more of a preparation reading for me in order to do the series. And then of course I am reading One Piece. I am through post Enies Lobby. I have finished the Enies Lobby saga as a whole, and it's been fantastic. I have absolutely loved One Piece so much. I'm so glad I started this journey, and it's just Enies Lobby was brutal though. Like, combination of Water 7, Enies Lobby, and post Enies Lobby, like all wrapped up into one saga, was brutal. Oh my gosh, it was brutal, but it was so good. It was fantastic. I loved it. The just masterclass of character work and storytelling is just perfect. It is perfection. I've really, really loved One Piece, and I will be getting into Thriller Bark soon. Actually, I've already started Thriller Bark, and I've met Brooke. I have no thoughts on that yet. But if you, I'm not going to talk about One Piece too much in this video. My Enies Lobby review will be posted next week, so be on the lookout for that. That's when I will really dive into everything about that arc, because wow, it was amazing. And then this is a book, but I actually didn't get to finish this book this month, even though I really wanted to. Things just got really busy, and I tried to finish everything up that I could, but I didn't get to finish this one, and that's fine. I'm a little upset, but it is Joanne Fluke's book, The Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder. This is a book that my mom has read, and she loves this author. It's really good, and it's got little recipes in here too, like actual, where is it? And it's got recipes inside the book too of like different like sweets and baked goods, which is awesome. I am really enjoying this book so far of what I've read. I'm gonna be finishing up in February. I don't know if this is a thing, but it's like a cozy murder mystery. That doesn't sound right, but that's what it is. It's just a nice, relaxing read. There is some tension, there's still that mystery, and there's still a murder, but it's just, I don't know, it's just nice. It's just cozy. Like, I could curl up on the couch with just like a cup of hot chocolate with a blanket on and read this and not get stressed out or anything like that. It's just a nice read. I understand why my mom loves these books so much. So I'm really excited to finish this book. I know there's like a whole series of these, so I might be picking those up in the future. If y'all want just like a nice amateur sleuth detective cozy murder mystery type feel of a book, this would be the perfect book to read. And you get recipes with them, like chocolate chip cookie recipes or like pecan chew recipes or other things like that. It's a win-win, honestly. But yeah, so I wanted to mention this because I did start reading it in January, but I didn't quite finish it. So I'll be finishing it in February. Now, for some of the anime I've been watching, there's been so many seasonal anime that's been coming out, and I have been just enjoying it so much. Of course, my favorite, Bungo Stray Dogs, is back, season 4, so I have been loving every single minute of Bungo Stray Dogs. I'm so happy we got the foundation arc, pretty much, of how Rampo and Fukuzawa met. That finally got animated, and now we're getting into the Decay of Angels arc. I'm so excited. As a manga reader, just seeing how they're adapting it and bringing it to life, it's making me so happy so far. So I might be doing more videos about Bungo Stray Dogs in the future. Another one is Tokyo Revengers. I've read the manga of Tokyo Revengers, so it's the Christmas Showdown arc, and I'm very excited to see it animated. I am ready to see a few things get animated, but also my heart's not ready for a few things to get animated. But they're doing a pretty good job with that so far. But some of these seasonal animes that took me by surprise that I love so much. Tomo-chan is a girl. If y'all know me, I'm a huge romantic at heart. I love my romance animes. I love them so much. Tomo-chan is a girl. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about it. I wasn't sure that was gonna be my cup of tea. I love it. I love the whole dynamic. It's so good. I would highly recommend that. Ice Guy and his cool female colleague, adorable, absolutely adorable. That's another good romance that I am just eating it up. It's so good. And there's a couple others I'm watching. God, there's so many seasonal anime out right now, oh my goodness. But my favorite so far, and it took me completely by surprise because by the title I wasn't sure what to expect, but it is by far the best seasonal anime I've seen, and it's the one I am enjoying the most, the one I am most looking forward to seeing every week, is Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. As soon as this season of it ends, I am going to pick up the manga and read it. I don't know if it's a manga or a light novel, whichever one, I'm gonna pick it up and read it. I love it. I love it so much. The story is good and it's compelling. The characters are really good and compelling. And the male lead is just, he is great. He is fantastic. I like fairies, so I love fairies. So seeing the male lead be a fairy and a warrior fairy he fights is really nice. Also, despite the name being Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, it's a little darker than you would expect, which is really nice. It's a good contrast to like the name that you would think you were, like what you would think you were getting with that show. It took me by surprise in like a great, fantastic way, and it's by far my favorite of the season. So I'm really looking forward to continuing watching that. So going forward, there are some books on my list that I want to read. I don't know if it's going to be this month or next month. We got a whole stack of them that I want to read. Starting with, I was planning on starting this one earlier, but I just got delayed and got into other books, so I didn't. But Brandon Sanderson's A Way of Kings, I am planning on starting this one soon. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get through this chunker, but I'm gonna be starting this one soon. I've heard nothing but good things about Babel, so I will be reading that soon, and my brother just finished reading this a little bit ago, and now my sister's reading it, so I want to be able to read this month so we can all discuss it and talk about it, because I'm really excited to read this book. I know some of like the summary of what it's about, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one. And then this was another Christmas present I got. I got a lot of books for Christmas, okay, that's fine. From Blood and Ash, this was one my cousin got me, and I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I'm not really sure what it's about, but I've heard it's really good. My sister really likes the series. My cousin really likes the series, so I figured I might as well go ahead and read it so I can see what they like so much about it. So I'll probably be reading this one hopefully this month. We'll see how everything goes, but this is on my to be read list. And the last one, it's part of a trilogy. I've heard that book 3 isn't out yet, but I've heard nothing but good things about the first 2 books. It's The Shadow of the Gods and Hunger of the Gods, which when I first bought them, I didn't realize there was such a big difference in like their covers and the way they were printed. Like, it was a little upsetting that one is like small and the other's really, really big. It's fine. I will get over it. I have plenty of mismatched books up there on that shelf. I should not be offended by this. But this, from what I've heard, this is like a Norse-inspired mythology, or it's inspired by Norse mythology, and it's like a Norse-inspired world. So I'm pretty excited, and it's got dragons. Automatic win. So I'm really excited. I know pretty much, other than that, I know pretty much nothing about this book, but I've heard that it's really good. And since the first 2 are out, and I don't know when book 3 is coming out, I haven't figured that out. But I want to go ahead and jump on this trilogy, see where it takes me, because fantasy is one of my absolute favorite genres, and I love dragons. So this seems like a win-win. Once I finish the first book, I'll probably do a review of it before I hop into the second one, and then we'll just go from there. So So those are a few books on my to be read list. There's still a whole lot more that I didn't bring out. Those are just like books I have setting out in different places reminding me to read them. So that's why I was able to bring them over here for the video. But that pretty much wraps up the January wrap up. That's all the books and manga I read this past month, and it kind of gives y'all a little insight to what I'll be reading in the future, whether it be in February or like the next few months as I go along, because I am not sure how fast I'm going to be able to get through Brandon Sanderson's book. It's my first experience with Brandon Sanderson, but I'm really excited because I've heard nothing but really great things about Brandon Sanderson. And all the other books too. I'm really, really, really excited to read them. So thank y'all all for watching this video. If y'all have read any of the books that I have, let me know what you thought of them down below. If you haven't read them and you think one of them might interest you but you have a question about it, leave those questions down below. I would love to get into it and chat with y'all without giving y'all any spoilers. Of course, I won't do any spoilers. And if you've seen books on my to be read list that you have already read or is on your TBR list as well, let me know down in the comments. It'd be so cool to know that I'm reading books that other people are reading at the same time. It'd be really nice for me to know that. I just think it would be fun to know that there's a lot of people reading the same types of books that we can talk about at a later time together. Other than that, make sure you look out for that Innie's Lobby review of One Piece that'll be on the channel next Thursday, so be prepared for that. It is a long one. It's a hefty video. I will go ahead and get that out there now, so be prepared for that video. And the Skip Beat video will be the week after that, so be on the lookout for that as well if you're reading Skip Beat or have just started it, so that we can talk about Skip Beat as well, because it is my favorite manga of all time. My favorite romance of all time. But thank y'all so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time, scholars. Bye!